So let's go ahead and grab that bugle tube and let it rip.
Now?
Right now. Yeah, give it all you got.
Oh, mine was a little easier to bugle than this thing.
Well, let's see what you got.
That's it. That's the best part.
My favorite part's the chuckle. You've always said your favorite part of my bugle was the chuckle.
That most of the time they chuckled, that's what they did, and
Yeah.
or maybe just a couple tones.
Yep. I worked on that chuckle a long time. That's the
chuckle sounds the best.
hardest part of the bugle. So, all right. So the reason I wanted to do this was, I'm gonna try to get through this, but obviously with starting NILCH'i and my dad being who he is, and what he's accomplished, I think he can. What we're gonna do here today. There's a lot of people that could probably get something from it, and I'm gonna try to get through it myself because it's kind of gonna be emotional for me. Once we get going, probably be a lot better. But my first question is why elk? Why elk?
I have no idea. They're big. What actually got me started on was a couple articles in Outdoor Life, and they had a super great guy that would talk about elk, like once a month, or I think his name was O'Connor, maybe like Jack O'Connor. He was a rifle guy though, but he swore by a 270. 270, kill anything you want to kill in North America is what he would talk about.
Okay.
But he wrote great articles on elk, and a couple of them was bugle elk, which nobody even, that I know of, even heard about bugling elk. When we hunted in Washington, it was early or late season, November, and they were already done with the elk, with the breeding part
Right.
and the bugling. So we never even heard them bugle. And mostly when we get into herd, on the Hull River, Queets River, the Skulk, they were done with the bugling and all that, but there would be some raghorn still in the herd and stuff, and that's mostly what I got. Mostly spikes, or raghorns.
Okay, well that leads me to the next question, which is first elk.
First elk?
And don't lie. Was it a cow?
No. Actually, my whole hunting career, I only killed one cow.
I think, you know what, I looked through 6,000 pictures. I had a hard time finding pictures of you, of all the bulls that you killed.
No, I wasn't into, when we first started hunting Idaho, it was either sex. You could kill anything. You could stop in Lewiston, Idaho and buy a license for a bear, deer, elk, either sex. It all opened October 1. And
How much?
$150 if I remember correct. $150.
$150. And today, it's through the roof. And in my honest opinion, kids there should be something more involved for kids. That, you know, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that it is what it is. I mean, and what hunting's actually become. You know, I mean, you always call it it's turning, I think 15 years ago maybe, you called it that it's turned into a rich man's sport.
That's what it is today.
And, well, hold on, so, anyway, you know, that I remember that always used to bother me that you said that. Now, being that you used to say that you know, and the way that and the style that you hunted, and the amount that you have shot is probably the top 95% in the United States. Have ever killed as many bulls as you have?
A big bull?
Just bulls in general. That meant the number. We're getting there.
You know, I was never interested in everybody wants to kill the big bull, but if I saw, after hunting Washington and shooting spikes in a downpour rain, and then going to Idaho and seeing some raghorns that were pretty impressive. I was a meat hunter. I wasn't trying to kill a trophy. But if I saw a big bull, yeah, I was going to try to kill him.
Right.
And I saw some monsters.
Yeah.
In my lifetime on a rock 2-3 miles away with binoculars and a spotting scope, maybe just a little bit towards evening when I couldn't get to them, and I tried the next day. And,
right.
We had one we called Snowball. He kept showing up, and I never did get a shot at him. He was a monster. But
so
I was after the meat.
Well, let me ask you this. So I always remember this. I remember your gold tooth, or your gold chain with the gold tooth.
I got that from O'Connor or something too.
Yeah, I always thought, you know, when you pulled that thing out on Thanksgiving and Christmas, that was big shit. Meaning that, you know what, we were partying. It was, Dad had his elk tooth on, and, you know, you might have a gin and tonic or something, and I'm sad that thing's gone. That made me sad when I think you told Bo that was gone, or you told me that was gone. Somebody took it, but, you know, that's besides the point. Whistlers. What was the point of pulling all the whistlers out of all the bulls?
Oh, I don't know, probably the packer in Idaho that we kind of went with a couple of times just to learn the country. He mentioned pulling teeth. He would go in there and take the tongue out. He loved his tongue, and
He would eat it?
Huh?
He would eat the tongue?
Oh, he loved the tongue. A lot of people did. He'd bust the jaw and take tongue is delicious. Well, you boil the big skin.
How many whistlers are in this little sucker?
Huh?
How many are in here?
I don't know.
How many bulls have you killed? And be honest.
I honestly don't know. Close to 50. But now before I get in trouble, I was hunting Washington. Idaho was first, October.
Yeah, but over the time span that you hunted, and hunted 2 states. So
that's right.
That's understandable.
I think I had about 16 in Washington, and then I started hunting Idaho.
Well, you killed some dandies in Idaho. You got 2 7 points hanging off for you. Oh, that brings me to another question.
Uh-huh.
Well, let's get into this before you get rambling. So, all them bulls, right? All them elk you killed. Tell the people, did you ever use a rangefinder?
No, we never used no rangefinder. Never even used a bugle until they started making these things. And they answered. I think O'Connor, in that outdoor life, he mentioned that guys were whistling them with an empty bullet.
Yeah, 7mm cartridge.
Just a whistle.
Yeah.
And they'd answer up.
Yeah.
And so we started making these bugles. The old cowboy had one. He sounded like he was in a band or something. He just blew it all the time. But
well, that's what's going on in today's world, and your son is promoting it. But you gotta be respectful with it. You can't be, there's a lot of hunters nowadays. You can't just be going around tooting. And not to mention, you should learn how to, use it properly. But anyway, let's move on. So I thought about this one, and I just, I don't know why this is important to me, but it kind of is. So blue collar. So, we're not rich. We didn't grow up rich.
We're still not rich.
Yeah, and you worked for everything that you got.
That's right.
I watched you build your own horse truck. You trained your own horses.
That's right. Nothing came easy.
No, you did it all yourself. So how did you stay in shape to go into the mountains? And this is important to me. Now,
Did I stay in shape?
No. This has to do with me and you. So
I was always tall and skinny.
Well, I want you to get this right. So what else do we do?
Well, my work.
There you go.
My work was laying carpet. You move furniture all day long and lay carpet all day long and move everything back in all day long. And about a month before elk season, I would send my helper home with my truck and I would walk home.
So basically hard work, because I think
you better be in shape.
90% of American elk hunters, or just hunters in general, blue collar guys, are hardworking guys.
That's right.
And I wrote down, the mountain always wins, and that's what sticks to my mind when I'm out there and I mountain bike, I lift weights, and I try to prepare myself as often or as well as I can. But then, when you're hiking up, you're like, God, this thing is just kicking my butt. And I thought I prepared for this, and I just don't really know if you can prepare for it. I mean, it just always wins. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can go and go and go. But I will say this: after about the third day, you're getting in a little bit more mountain tough.
Our biggest problem was our camp, where we put our tent up, was 6,000 feet.
Right.
So we're going from down here up to 6,000 feet. Even on the horses, it affected the altitude.
Right.
The thin air.
Yeah.
So it took us, once we got everything set up, we were packing in. Well, we actually made our trail. It was back when Roosevelt was president. And there was no business. He put out a lot of people making trails and lookouts, and we found an old abandoned lookout trail that we opened up.
Were they fire trails or just?
No, it was up to the lookout.
Okay. Well, that's a fire lookout.
Well, yeah, they'd stay in there all summer and look for fires.
Yeah.
And we opened that trail up. We had to go through around the swamp, and so we spent a lot of time and a lot of hours getting into that country, but that eliminated anybody else in that country.
Getting in there.
People were scared to death to go up there.
Right.
There was a lot of horse traders parked down on the road, but they'd get up and have breakfast and get on the horse, and by the time they got up there, we were already butchered.
Yeah.
You
Did the
gotta
killing.
be.
You gotta live with them.
You better be out there before dark or before daylight, and you better stay out till dark. We would hunt real hard in the morning, go back to camp, they'd be taking a nap, and then go back out in the evening, because they're bedded down in the timber during the heat, and then they would come out almost dark and start feeding again.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
In the morning, you might, if you got up early and crashed down there, we'd go real hard to where we thought they were, and you might be lucky enough to catch them still out. But they're headed back to their bedding grounds, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
And we would, if you're lucky, you got a shot. I can't tell you how many times I saw real nice bulls, and I couldn't quite get a shot. And by the time I got in position, they were already out of sight.
Have some water. this is important. I think to me and a lot of other people, they're going to relate to this question. It's kind of personal to me, but I think a lot of people will learn something from this. So I'm going to elaborate on it once, and I might have to help you. But what do you think the number one thing you taught me was when it comes to elk?
Number one? Well, you gotta love it, number one.
Yeah, you
You
do.
gotta like the misery part of it.
Yeah,
Because
there's a
there's
lot.
days you're gonna go out there and you're gonna get soaking wet, and you're gonna get snow, miserable, terrible conditions, and you're still gonna hunt.
You gotta be mentally tough.
You gotta be mentally tough and in really good shape.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you this. So I was on a nice big bull down on the coast, and being the bow hunter that I was, and I was young, and this is for a lot of people to hear, I was so used to being a bow hunter and trying to be quiet. This is probably the number one thing you ever taught me when it comes to elk hunting. I had that bull so revved up, and I got down in the bottom of this basin, and I didn't know. I told you this story when I got back from my trip, and I said I got down in there, and I just felt like I was tiptoeing in, and you said, "Go right at him.
Yeah,
Go right at him."
that's exactly right.
Okay.
You try to sneak, and you're probably gonna scare them away.
Right, and so you said you told me, you said they don't know whether you're an elk or not, and ever since you told me that, I'm pretty aggressive. And what I mean by that is, and I watch it on YouTube a lot, I watch guys get in kind of tight to elk, but then they're very cautious. They don't know what they can get away with. And this was pretty much a number one topic for me when it came to talking about this and wanting to do this. Was I see guys, even some of the pros are like, I don't know, we'll wait for the thermals to change. Guess what? I don't wait for to change. You only got a certain amount of time to get down in there. They ain't waiting on you. Just like you said, they're moving to bedding. They'll take you a mile and a half. And especially if the bull's bugling, guess what? I'm on his tail. I'm chasing him. But when I took that approach, it immediately changed my thought process. The following year I got on, I should have him mounted. He should be here. I should have killed that bull. And the only thing that happened in that bull, I took that approach. And I went through some of the nastiest, thickest stuff that a guy would want to go through. I had to hold my bow over my head. And that bull jumped up, and I was screaming at him. And then he just kind of froze in there, and I went, he didn't know if I was what I was.
Checking you out.
He didn't know what I was. And the next thing I know, he walked right out to take a look at me, and I came to full draw, and I was very, I've always been kind of a sportsman in my brain, and there was some salal over his mid-body. And I went from, when we're talking 25 yards, and this is a giant, heavy-horned Roosevelt bull. I went from right into his heart, and I thought about punching it through there, but in the back of my brain, I've always, tried to be a respectful bow hunter. And this is going to sound dumb, because this is what I did, and it was dumb. So I'm contradicting myself by saying being a respectful bow hunter. I swung from there. He started getting antsy and walking, and I went from there right to the beaner, and I freaking let her go. It hit him at the base of his horn, and it flew through I watched the arrow go through the sky. I learned real quick that was a dumb mistake. I don't know why I didn't just hold it I didn't realize how big the lungs were. I was young. I mean, these are young episodes, but that's how you learn. And so a lot of guys, I think that, you can take a lot from that little lesson right there. You can get away with a lot more than you think you can. You got to know when. I think it's a lot about body language. Read, the more you spend around animals, the more body language you can read. elk, deer, bear, it doesn't matter what you're stalking. Body language to me is massive. If a deer looks antsy, he's probably antsy. That bull was antsy that I just told you about, and guess what? He was walking out of my life, so I made a bad decision. I didn't want him leaving my life. And so I didn't want to take a bad shot and wound him either. And you know what? I watched that arrow fly through the sky. And you learn from your mistakes. And we make plenty of them, especially as bow hunters. And you just got to learn from it, basically, and move on. And that's really the only way to get better. I mean, I've made so many mistakes. So many mistakes.
That's part of hunting, though. You
It
learn.
is.
You're in a whole different program because you got to get close with a bow and arrow, and I can shoot 500 yards with that thing.
Well, you never did really. I got another question that kind of falls in line with what I was talking about, but I found it interesting that you never. I mean, you know where the game is now. These guys are shooting 1,600 yards at animals.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
that's a big mistake.
Yeah, I think it is.
Do they kill that elk? And if they do shoot, do they go over there and check out for blood? 600 yards. Half of those guys can't walk that far.
Hey,
That's the truth.
if you don't like what he's saying, you might want to look in the mirror. So tell him how you judged animals with this. No rangefinder.
Well, I started with a 742 30-06 Woodmaster made by Remington, and for hunting on the Hoe and the Queets up there because it was close. And I wanted another bullet right behind it, semi-automatic. And the first bullet, I don't know where it went half the time. The second shot, I could usually kill him. It wasn't that accurate.
Okay, but what did you tell me about your scope?
Well, it's a straight 2-power. Leopold, I swear by him. They're up there in the rainforest, they never fogged up or nothing. Never had any problem with that 2-power. These guys got scopes, big as round as this thing. And they sit there and they go like this, and then they go like this, and then and the elk is over there.
But you told me that you practiced so much you knew
Well,
right
that's
where to hold
the
it.
whole thing is shooting and practicing.
Yeah, you knew your weapon.
I knew the gun. That 7mm is a straight shooter. It's an old gun. Harry Bender got it for me. Stainless steel barrel, set trigger, a 2-power scope with a fine crosshairs and a little post. And if you shoot enough, you know where to put that post. If it's 200 yards, you put it right on them. If it's 300 yards, I use the post. And that was my rangefinder.
Right, that's what I wanted to do.
I knew exactly where that gun, when I pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
And you want me to show you something?
Sure.
Most people have never seen this. This is I bought this out of Texas. It was made by Clifton Arms.
You don't even know it's in there.
There you go.
That's pretty cool.
And
Hey, don't point it at Kyle.
you put that on a rock or a log or lay down on the ground.
Right, yeah,
I put my
prone
coat
shooting.
right here.
Right.
I don't touch the gun. I get it lined
Let
up
the
and
gun
I just
shoot
touch
itself.
the trigger.
Yeah, let the gun shoot.
You don't even know it goes off. It's
That's-
been ported up on the barrel.
Yeah.
So it doesn't kick. It shoots like a 30-30,
Yeah.
but it'll go 500 yards.
Pretty cool.
And I would never shoot at a bull that's
You want to know the truth?
700 yards.
No.
I don't care if I think I could hit him.
Yeah. No. We don't need to get into that. That's a whole nother realm of
I want to kill
conversation.
him, and I usually can get in close enough where I can.
Well, that's the game. I want him at 20. I'm sorry. 20's good for me. Anyway,
Well, that's the difference.
there's the funny thing of that is it's no different than bow hunting. And really, when I really became a good archer, and we met that Brady kid at the ATA show, and he beat Levi Morgan and stuff, and I found he's a very, very humble kid, and he's doing another competition right now, and I sent him a message, and I said, let the bow shoot itself. And one of the things that when I became really good, I found it funny that you talked about setting, the way you set that up was, and then you let the gun shoot itself. Well, a bow is made to shoot accurate. So any imperfections is human error. And I sit out here and thump enough arrows to know what is a good shot and a bad shot. So the smoother I can be, and when I let that bow just shoot itself, and my hand is in the right position every single time, it just shoots itself. And it's accurate. Just like that.
Again, it all comes back to practice. You practice with
I wear a hole in the yard every year. So
you practice more with a bow and arrow. We would, a month before elk season, we'd go out somewhere and set up.
Yep.
But we would set up our targets 100 yards to make sure it's shooting straight.
Right.
But up in Browns Creek up there, we would put them out 200 or 300 yards. I was shooting clear across canyons up there at a target.
Yeah, I like
So
hunting situation.
I knew when I went, it was
on the money. Good peace of mind to have.
There's no sense carrying that thing around if it ain't gonna shoot straight.
No, you're defeating the purpose. All right, so okay, so that was important to me. Was the go right at him? There's a certain line of that you can't cross. I mean, there's 60 head. That's with any animal.
Well, the elk is a big animal, and up there in Idaho, it was all brush and mountain alder. When I say mountain alder, the branches are this big and they're going everywhere. You can't even walk through that stuff, but the elk, they bed down in that stuff.
Nice and cool.
And if they get up to move, you can hear them.
Yeah.
So they're making noise, and I'm making noise. The big thing would be scent and this little jobber right here.
Yeah, right here. Checking it.
There you go.
We're going to do more of that, but let me get to this. So, this has always been in my heart, because all the elk that you have shot, I heard you say when I was younger that you were going to mount one, but you never did. I think that what you taught me, obviously I mount them because it's bow and arrow and it's damn hard.
Yeah.
So hold on. Harvest beautiful things in beautiful places. That's the trophy.
Well, a spike is a trophy.
But don't you think that where you kill it and the scenery and the...
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's what I was... You drug me through some of the nastiest crap in my life.
Even up in the rainforest up there on the Queets and stuff, you have to enjoy the big timber and the river, and that's part of being out there. If you kill something, it's just a bonus.
It is. So, why no mounts? Why'd you never do it? Before you answer that, I was telling a guy down at the show, because I go to all these shows now, and the guy, I was telling him about you, and he says he knows. He was there. So now give me your answer.
Well,
why did it not mean enough? Because there's a lot of guys that would love to have the...
I always thought I could get a bigger one.
That one laying right there doesn't suck.
I tell you what, that snowball, he'd make that look like a raghorn.
That's a big bull.
And I had a chance to kill him a couple of miles from our camp, and he was cutting up onto, they call it stony.
Yeah.
And he had about 8 cows with him. The cows were moving, and he was just tagging along. He was all wore out from fighting and doodling, but he was the bull.
Well, you couldn't get in on him?
No, it was dark. It was getting dark. So I knew where he's going. On the other side of Stony is a big basin, and there was always some elk in there. And I got up early in the morning all by myself, and there's 4 of us in camp, but I saddled up my old horse, and it's about a 5-mile ride around to Stony, and I tied the mare up, and I got at the base of this basin. It was stone still, quiet. There wasn't nothing moving, no noise. And I let out a little toot on this thing.
Yeah.
Better than I did earlier.
You did all right.
And that whole basin lit up.
Oh shit.
And
Bugle Fest.
Snowball was in that basin with his cows. Well, okay, I was all excited, and all of a sudden out comes this little raghorn.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, I'm from Washington, and I'm looking for meat. And I shot that raghorn.
There goes.
And I to this day, I go to bed and dream of I could have got that big bull.
Yeah, we all do that. I got him in my head too. I'm never going to catch you. There's not a chance. I mean, there just isn't, especially bow hunting. But, you know, that's pretty cool. I mean, I think everybody gets in those situations and, you know, I mean, you got to make an educated decision pretty quick.
Washington, I was shooting spikes and I had a chance to shoot this decent little raghorn. I was proud of that, but I to this day I dreamed about sneaking down into that basin another quarter mile and I could have got that big bull.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Yeah, you.
But I didn't. And when I shot out, you know, everything went to pot. But
well, we feel
I was proud. I rode all by myself in the dark. Got in position, I shot that bull. We chopped everything up with a hatchet. I put the heart and the liver in my saddlebag, come back to camp and with the head, and hey, I was happy.
Yeah, why wouldn't you be? But
Everybody
snowballs in the back of your mind, even to, how old are you? Tell everybody how old you are.
I turned 85 July 2nd. Old fart.
And Snowball is still in his head.
Old and all busted
So,
up.
real quick, this one was funny to me. The Filson story. Filson, the clothing guy.
Oh! Well, this Packer, there was a big outfitter on this airstrip. And he was really a nice guy, but he was infringing. We were packing all this meat out and horns and all these, his customers sitting there watching the horns go by. And opening day, the next year, I go down to my favorite rock. It was about at least a couple of miles. You were there on that rock.
I know the rock. I watched you shoot like 200 yards across.
And I'm starting down there, and I hear you talking about sneaking and quiet. Here comes, I thought, damn, there's an elk coming at me. And here comes the guide. Unbeknown to me, he had snuck in a little tent.
Yeah.
And he had this guy from Filson. This guy was, he might hear this, but he was so far out of shape he couldn't walk, and he looked like a bear rabbit or whatever that guy is, you know, the black and red wool clothes from top to bottom and a big old heavy wool jacket. And I would usually hunt it in a sweatshirt or something light because we're gonna travel. I'm gonna keep moving. I didn't need a big heavy coat or nothing. I never even carried a pack. And here comes the guy. They're sneaking. I had just scared about 8 cows, but in a little basin before I got there, and there was no bull in there. And I looked really hard, but so I was going to go down to my rock and hear these 2 guys coming. And I don't know who spooked the most, but I said, "What are you doing here?" To the guide. I said, "This is my rock down there."
Oh boy.
And I had a real bad chest cold, and you know, I was kind of peed off because somebody's on my rock. But
Now, was he I thought you told me that he was the owner of Filson.
he was exactly that.
Okay, that's an important part of the story.
He was an owner, and he paid big bucks. He had this packer pack him in.
Right.
All by himself, put up a little dinky tent down too far into the elk country.
Yeah, put it right in where the elk are.
He put him right in where he shouldn't have.
Right, stinking.
I mean, he's packing horses and mules in there and dropping this guy off, and then he had another cowboy take the horses out, so they were camping in this little thing, you know, roughing it for a couple of days, but
He had some nice gear.
gear. He had the best.
Yeah, you did. You used to wear wool. You had me on wool at a young age
I had
because there was no
pants.
camouflage.
Yeah.
So, all right. This is a touchy subject. The wolf.
Oh, boy.
So,
That's the end of the story.
yeah, I want to know because, and they all want to know because, you know, you spent a lot of years hunting elk, and you're, like I said, you're probably the top 95%. Killed that many bulls, and I know you talk a lot about the spikes or whatever, but you killed a lot of big bulls. And I never heard you brag my whole life.
Oh, well, I like to
Talk about it. Right.
You know, killing something and all year long, it's kind of like catching a big fish. It's nice to talk about it, but it don't do any good to brag about it.
No, it don't.
Usually, if you brag about it, it'll backfire on you. You'll never see another.
Well, nobody likes that guy anyway. So here's the deal. Did it end your hunting career? I remember you coming home and saying when they introduced the wolves. Was it a year after that, and he was already up there on that ridge?
Yeah, well,
How long was that?
we went in there fishing during the summer, and we went up a pretty good sized river. Well, I was looking for new country because this packer had kind of peed me off about being in my spot. So I'm going to get even with him. I went up into his favorite spot, and I'll be darned if he wasn't coming out. He was packing in some supplies for fishermen and stuff. And he had about 8 horses, and he had his wife and a couple kids. And they made a little trip out of it. And he says, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to go up and scout up a hill that we could see." It was called Kelly's Thumb. And he didn't like that at all, because that was one of his best spots. And and he said, "Well," he got nice. He said, "You can use my," he had tents up and everything. And he had watermelon in the creek and all kinds of stuff. My horses got right into his bags of grain and ate his grain. But we rode up onto towards this Kelly Thumb, and we saw these big, I'm not kidding you, big tracks, and there wasn't a puppy.
No, they're big.
And there was rumors about that.
Yeah.
So we come back to camp.
Wait a minute, rumors about them entering that side of the country that you were hunting? Rumors of them entering that country?
Yeah, well, it was true, because that night, just before dark, 2 young girls came up the trail. And she had this aerial, and she's going like this thing.
Tracking like a collar?
Yeah, and she's trying to locate. She said, "Yeah, we dumped a male and a female, and they're in this right here, right in the middle of the best elk country in Idaho."
Yeah.
And we started teasing them. "Well, you guys can spend the night here," and all this and that. They were nice looking girls. They were from Moscow College. And I said, "What do you do up here if somebody gets nasty with your, a couple of girls in the mountain?" And she reached right back here and pulled out a barrel was that big around. "This is my protection."
She wasn't worried.
We laughed at her.
So the wolf, I thought I remember you telling me, what stopped it? Why did you quit? Because I thought my career going elk hunting with you would be going up and I would bow hunt the country. You already had it all set up. I had to go earn it the hard way. But I thought it was going to be, so a lot of people might think that with a dad like this, that, I got handed something. But, really, bow hunting and my dad's style, they didn't really correlate the same. And, I don't want to say he didn't have a lot to offer me when it comes to bow hunting, but definitely the woodsmanship and that side of it, and the dragging me through the nastiest country. You did a lot of that to me. I boycotted a lot of your BS parties that you drugged me up into the Olympics. I can remember sitting down, crossing my legs, and Mark had to come down and get my backpack because I wasn't going anymore. And I had a good cry party. and Mark came down and grabbed the backpack. But I'm getting off topic. The wolf. What's the story? I remember you said you seen one.
No, I never did see one, but my brother and Mark went out to this basin, and it was I was going to cook up some in a cast iron pot. I was going to put it in the fire and all this and that. Had everything in that thing, and they were going to go out and sit in this basin till dark, and this small. They thought it was a female. She come out. The wolf didn't know they were there.
Right.
They were up high in a rock, and this wolf come out. And I don't know why Mark didn't shoot it, or Kim didn't shoot it. I would have shot the thing if it did.
Oh boy, boys, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it
I
here
think
first.
it was against the law.
It was then. It's not now. You got to buy a tag. I think it's so inexpensive.
Well,
that they're $25, or at least they were when I was going to Idaho. Now it's harder to even get a tag to go hunt out there. So
you know, those elk trails, you can almost ride a horse on them. They were that deep and that wide, and they would sometimes wander around it. It wasn't like a horse trail, but there was enough elk in there to keep that trail open, because they crossed from this side to that side, and then on the migration, there's more of them coming out. But
so why'd you stop?
Couple years
why'd
later.
you stop going up there?
Well, a couple years later, the areas that we would glass and look for elk, there was no elk.
Well, why? Okay, so why not? What happened?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the wolf ate my
There you
elk.
go. Okay, there you go. That's what I wanted out of you. So it came to a stop, but
no, we still went a couple of years after that, after the elk kind of disappeared. But we were, I don't know why. It was only ride horns. Wouldn't see cows. We wouldn't see calves. The trails.
Well, they're killing machines, so
they were killing them.
They were wiping everything out.
One year we got up in the morning and saddled the horses, and the horses kept looking up where we were going to go, the trail. And me and Mark, we get on our horses and we started heading up. So we didn't go 100 yards, and here's a little bull walking right down the trail. Suicide. He heard them horses, horse stomping on the ground, and
Right.
he thought they were elk. He
Right.
was lonely or something.
Yeah.
And Mark got off and killed him. But it went from
Good hunting to
it was gone.
decline.
It was gone.
So hold on. So I heard you talking about this, and I seen it with my own eyes as well. So small town economy and the effects on the community. Let me repeat it. Small town economy and the effects on the community.
Over there?
Meaning when the wolf came in and that all happened. I remember hearing you talking about what the effects of that, and I truly believe that is the case.
Yeah.
Because what hunters bring into small towns.
Well, you know, we used to stop. First, we'd stop and have dinner. Little Dicky Restaurant somewhere along Kelly Creek, and we'd get, you know, you'd have to fill up your fuel.
Mm-hmm.
You'd buy your groceries that you forgot, maybe some aspirin or something. So we brought money in there.
Yeah.
Plus, we were buying. At that time, it wasn't $150. It was more like $350 or $400 to get a tag.
Yeah.
And you had to put in. It was first come, first serve. I used to get on the phone in December. They would go on sale the 1st of January. I'd get on the phone and I'd stay on the phone till somebody picked it up.
I remember you doing that.
And so we could get 4 tags.
Right.
Otherwise, they were just gone. But not only us bringing money in, the packer, he had 2 real good drainages that he had. He had Cayuse Landing and he had Bear Creek. So he was running too. He had about 40 horses in there. And those days are gone. If you're bringing somebody out of Tennessee or Pennsylvania, California, those guys, you know, they want to see an elk. And you're not seeing elk, you ain't gonna come back.
Yeah, but my point was, how do people run a business? Because some of those towns, like I tell Bo, I'm like, you know, man, I'd love to live in a community like that. You know, like down in Salmon, there's one stoplight. You either go, or you take a right and go. I mean, that's pretty tight for money. And hunters during hunt season, a lot of money feeding into the economy.
This packer would, he was bringing people from Germany and all over the country in there to fish. It was...
to fish for the West Slope cutthroat?
Yeah, and there was beautiful cutthroat. I'm talking 18, 20-inch cutthroat in there.
I was there with you.
And he's bringing all these guys here where money was no problem. They'd fly into the airstrip, and then he'd pack them up there and let them fish for a few days. That's what... While we ate his watermelon, he was bringing in some rich people.
You ate his watermelon?
It was hot. You couldn't turn down the watermelon.
You stole the guy's watermelon?
The last time I tried to call him, his wife said he ain't talking and he's out in the garage throwing tools. He lost everything.
Oh.
He was done.
Done doing that?
Done packing.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
there's the answer right there to my question. That's the answer to the question.
The wolf ruined it.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, that's a good point. Now, hold on. Do you hate the wolf? Now, think about this. Do you actually hate the wolf? Or do you hate that it kills to kill?
Do I hate the wolf?
Do you hate the wolf? Or do you hate that it kills to kill?
My plan was to... As I got old, 10 years ago, was to maybe go over there early, pack the camp, pack the tent.
Oh, I'd have been.
And have everything set up, the wood, we had to pack water a couple of 100 yards.
Yeah.
And have everything set up, and then have you or somebody.
Well, that's kind of where I see my life going. And because I had to, you know, when you were gone, I was always holding down the business, and I didn't like that side of it. But it kind of worked out for me and you, because then I'd go bow hunt. And when you'd come back, you'd carry on the business, and then I would, you know, get my time to go bow hunt. And that was valuable to me, because, you know, I mean, that time in the woods, you know, if you think back to when I started, you know, I looked it up. I actually, the first bow that... Mom brought home for me was a garage sale bow, because I wanted one, and it turned out that that's one of the first bows ever compound bow. Allen,
yeah.
Yep, that bow that I had, and you set up 3 bells. Actually, Inside Archery wrote an article about the wind for me. Patrick did. He did a good job. You read it, and then AeroTrade. They let me write my own article. It's going into British Columbia and all the bow shops. So there's some cool stuff happening. I thought that was really nice of them to let me write my own. Kyle here edited for me. And Bo reviewed it as well. But, you know, yeah, pretty cool stuff. But, I don't know, let's move on to the next question. I guess, you know, you didn't really answer it. You used to wear a shirt that says "Smoke a pack a day." I know that's your favorite damn shirt. That sweatshirt. Smoke a pack a day.
I never smoked cigarettes.
No, elk. Wolves.
Oh.
Yeah,
I've got Doug Erstead gave me that. He comes from Montana. Yeah, it says something about...
Smoke a pack a day.
Yeah.
Pack of wolves.
Pack of wolves. That's what it said.
So...
And that's, to me, the biggest mistake Idaho ever made, period. Would you rather sell a $1,000 elk tag and pay an outfitter and buy groceries and all that, or would you rather have a pet elk, a pet wolf running around there eating your elk.
No, it affects the cattle ranchers too.
Well, they're doing the same thing out here with the killer whale. Everything is saved. The killer whale, the wolf is the same thing. All those do-gooders are up there. They got tons of money. They never even seen a wolf.
No.
But they got the money to keep throwing out, so protect the wolf.
The greenies.
And they're nothing but killers.
Yeah.
They got rid of them 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably more now. They're eating the people's beef, their sheep.
Oh,
They're eating their dogs. They're eating anything they can eat.
Yeah, I know. You know what I think it's going to come to a head is, and I shouldn't even say this because this is bad, but when one grabs a hold of a youngster is going to be a big topic. Meaning somebody's out playing. That's going to be big. That's going to mean something. But until then, I mean, at least they're letting us hunt. Because because I could buy a tag and go. I told you my stories. I mean, in the church was the first time in Idaho was the first time I told you I came back and said it was a boneyard, and I shot one of these bucks up here, and by the time I'm in there 75 miles, and I had to hike up to 7,000 feet, and by the time I had that thing quartered and hanging in a tree and hiked down to the next canyon, they were already up there howling and tearing that thing apart. And I lay down there in my tent and listened to it all night. I was like, oh my God. But when I went up the next day to get the meat out, because I had my camp, the head and everything, I probably had 80, 85, 90 pounds, if not 100 pounds of weight on my back. And when we went up there to get the meat, there was not one piece of meat left on that carcass. That's the next day.
Yeah.
And including the leg bones. They were all these were gone.
Yeah.
So they,
But we actually moved out of our spot because it was, why go up there and buy a tag and pack in 10 miles, do all that work and no animals. So we moved down by Stanley, Idaho, looking for new country. And one day it was snowing and we rode these horses up a trail. I didn't know where we were going, but I got off the horse and started hunting. I saw about, 10, 12 elk tracks that were still alive. But that morning, the wolves got this little spike out of there. And there was an area, it was 30-foot circle with nothing but the snow was packed down.
They killed one?
It was just bones sticking there.
Yeah.
They ate that whole thing.
Oh, it don't take them long.
And that was the first kill. It was killed that night or that morning.
Right. Yeah, they're not messing around. They're pretty vicious when they're it's a pack mentality, and once they get into it, I think it's the taste of blood, and they got to eat too. Well, unfortunately,
I got nothing against them, but why bring them back when they're going to kill something?
What's the story of this bull? Even though you're talking about spikes and this and that, you're not telling the truth about yourself because you've got some giant bulls hanging around the house on the outside of the house. But this one was interesting to me because he's missing half his jaw.
Well, I didn't even have a horse, and these two cowboys offered me to go to Idaho if I would show them. We were hunting off of a road when I first went over there first year. Never killed nothing. Trying to learn the country and stuff. And then the second year I got real smart and slowed down and started looking more. And I got a nice hook. We had the packer at that time would go get the meat for $100. He'd pack it out no matter where. That was part of his franchise deal. And I kept telling these cowboys in Bremerton here that about all these elk. They had horses, Homer Wagner and Harry Bender, and they're both dead now. But they said, hey, next year you'll have to walk in, but we'll go in and camp, and that's what we did. We went in about 5 miles on the river, and set up a nice camp, and now the elk are way up there and we're way down here, but we get up real early in the morning and ride up on top, and country that nobody had ever hunted before because it was too tough to get in there. And I went down to my favorite rock, and all by myself. They turned around and went back to camp. They just dumped me off. And I heard these bulls up on the next, there's a big gully and a creek, and then up on the other ridge, they were up there bugling and making all kinds of noise. So the way I went, I took off. At that time, I didn't have this gun. I still had that 30-06, and but the same scope. And I got up there, and they must have winded me, or they were going to go back to their bedding or something. But they were moving through that mountain alder, making all kinds of noise. I never did get a count.
They weren't feeding in there. Did they feed in that stuff?
I think they were breeding.
Oh.
When I got up there, it was like a barnyard. It stunk. There was elk crap all over, and they were urinating, and I think he was probably breeding there, but I don't know if I scared them or they just decided to move, but they didn't crash, and they were going down into this little draw that opened up.
Right.
And I knew enough then that if I pushed them, I was just going to push them. I never would probably get a shot. So I knew on the other side of the ridge was open. And that's what I did. I just left them, and I took off, got on that open side, and I ran about as hard as I could run, probably, I don't know, a couple hundred yards, trying to get ahead and cut them off. And that's exactly what I did. And then it was wide open on this side, and just thicker than crap on this side. So I got down to where I could cut into this brush and timber, and I didn't go 30 yards. And I heard something coming right at me, and I'm sure he thought I was another bull, because he'd been pushing and fighting with something, and they were bugling all over. And, it's still early in the morning, and I wasn't even hunting. I just heard something coming right at me, and I was kind of tired from huffing and puffing, and he's coming right at me. So I get this old 6 up, and I'm ready, and I look at the trees, the brush was moving and everything, and he's still coming right at me. He was going to try to run me off, like
another bull.
Yeah, he thought I was another bull, or one of the bulls that he'd been fighting with or something. And there was a little pecker pole laying on the ground with a mound of dirt, and he put his front feet on it, and he stood up just like this. And I just put that gun right on him, and boom.
Wasn't it like a 17-yard shot or something?
It was only about 30, 40 yards. And he just disappeared. So okay, and I'm all pumped up. And well, did I kill him or did he run off? I don't know. All he had to do was hop off of that and disappear. And I went up there, and this guy's laying there. Oh my God. Those guys were giving me crap because I said, I'm going to shoot a spike. So I go back, I dressed him all out and split him, and I didn't know way I'm going to carry that head and horns out, so I'm going to walk back the trunk. It's probably 5 miles, and then down the mountain to our camp, and I got back and I said, yeah, I got a spike, I told him. And these guys
That's
are all...
a dirty trick.
Huh?
That's a dirty trick.
What? They were giving me a bunch of crap about shooting a spike, and they thought I did. And the next morning we're going to get up and go pack the meat out, and so all of us went up there, the 4 of us, and all the pack horses and all that, and they kept saying, how much further? How much further? Come on. how much further? And it's kind of down a pretty good ridge, and I had marked the trees. After I shot the bull, I come up and I marked a couple pine trees with my hatchet, so you couldn't miss it.
Yeah.
And Homer Widener down there, I had the heart on the tree. Honest to God, the heart was big as my head.
Huh.
And this guy's laying there, and then they're all whooping and hollering.
Is the heart your favorite part? Because I know that all the years of growing up, I never had back straps or tenderloins. Where'd those go?
We never did that either. I don't know why. I see them on TV. The first thing they do is take the back straps out and eat them. But we usually ate the heart, boil the heart, throw an onion in there and boil it. Makes delicious sandwiches. It does. And then fried onions.
I know.
Onions and
You had me on that when I was a kid.
That was the meal. That was part of elk camp.
So, YouTube hunters. I've kind of turned you on to the YouTube hunter guys, and there's one in particular. I hope you get it right. If not, I'll help you. But I know there's one particular guy. I just kind of think it kind of blends with our relationship, mine and you. But I have one, and I think you have one. So who is your favorite YouTube guy? And you probably don't know it off the top of your head, but I'm going to give you an opportunity.
Well, lately it's been
Who's the baddest? Yeah, no. Well, thank you. But no.
I've been watching you.
Yeah, no, I'm going to help you out. So,
let's see, 29,000 lookers so far.
76.
On your first one.
Yeah, 76,000. And I thank them. But,
I watch, there's two brothers, I think you know them out of Oregon or something. They kind of look alike, and they actually walk in several times in Idaho. I don't know, they're big, husky-looking guys, and those guys hunt elk. They bow and arrow.
right.
They bugle pretty darn good.
Yep. Seasoned.
And
bad dudes. Bad dudes. The guy I'm thinking of, I'm going to refresh your memory, and his dad passed away, I think it might have been a year ago or maybe a year and a half. I could be wrong, but Nate Simmons. Does that ring a bell? The horse,
yeah,
the Western hunter.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he's tough.
yeah, bad dude.
Oh, and mule deer, he gets some beautiful, but he earns the meat, sleeps right up there,
Works hard.
sneaks on him. Him and, they're big. He's a bow and arrow guy, but I can't remember their name.
Well, my reason for bringing up the Nate Simmons is because, obviously his dad did all the horse work, and that was
Yeah, he would shoot him, and then his dad would come in with the horse.
Yeah, that was ultimately my goal.
That's a good video.
Yeah, I felt like I got ripped off of that half of my life because I thought that's where my life was heading, and I probably, gosh, I couldn't imagine going up there and hunting all that country and, evolving as a hunter and my bugling, And because when I was a kid, when we went up there, I think I was 18 when I went with you, and I bugled one in with my throat pipe. No bugle tube, no nothing. I bugled it in with my throat. After you killed that one, and you were gone, you took the meat, and then I had the head, and I was packing it out, and I called in another bull for Mark with my throat. And I can remember Mark getting excited, and I just kept bugling with my throat.
Mark was carrying the head.
I was carrying the head.
Oh.
And I started beating the head on the branches.
Yeah.
And I was bugling with my throat. Mark was like, Johnny, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. And we had that bull within 100 yards. But it's so thick in there that...
That's that mountain alder.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna name my favorite dude, who I think is one of the baddest dudes out there right now. And
Which one?
I'm gonna name him, but I wanted to say why. Was because... I think his work ethic, and, he's not looking for any glory. He just does it for the pure passion of the sport. And that, I kind of feel like I've done that till I gotta start doing this stuff and exposing myself. I've kind of done that my whole life. I didn't care about anybody. I just did it for the love of the sport and the hunt and all that work and all the years of practice, but this dude, South Cox, last year reached out and, or actually reached out to him because he put a thing out and, he responded to me and I thought I was going to go to Colorado and bugle for him and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and he chose, he responded to me and said that he picked one of the guys because he builds custom recurs, and he picked one of the guys is a client, and I can understand that. I wasn't mad about it, but I definitely didn't want to go to work that day because I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Colorado and hang out in the South. But the reason that I love what he's doing is that, he's getting to within 8 yards, shooting mule deer off a cliff. I mean, he's just an all-around.
Takes his shoes off.
Yeah, he's just an all-around.
To the socks.
Yeah, he's a stealthy dude.
He's definitely a hunter.
He is.
All bow and arrow.
Yeah, but he doesn't want any glory for it.
He's hunting some beautiful country too, though.
Yeah, he is. But you know what? He's getting back in that country with his llamas and stuff on his feet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that, the YouTube stuff, and I wanted to say this about, there's been some negative stuff about YouTube hunters and stuff, about making hunting popular, but realistically, I feel like, really the YouTube hunters is just the average guy. And that's what my passion towards them is some of the coolest stuff is the YouTube guys. Because they're just like the blue collar you and me guy. And they're out, filming. I don't like this filming stuff. It's a lot of work. And those guys go out like Trent from Born and Raised.
Yeah.
That's some work.
Those guys are good.
They're damn good. And I talked to Trent, I'm like, look, man, one of the biggest bulls that I called in, I was filming for NILCH'i, and, the wind was swirling in a bowl and it was going around and around. And, Brock kicked a rock, and that bull he was a big stud bull, and I would have mounted him. I would have had him, because I'm going to mount one day. I don't have that bull yet, but, I still got some time, but, I just think that the average guy out filming and doing that, and I'm more interested in that, and I know there's been some talk about the popularity of, and I felt some of that in Idaho because, when you're posting stuff or you're putting it out there, people see it draws more people to want to go do it, but you just got to go further and be tougher. And, some of that stuff is the stuff I like to watch. And
some of it's really good, but there's some of it that, they're in a lodge and they get in their quad and go up the road, and they're still, there's the elk right there, and they got a caller, somebody calling, and they got a guy filming, and they're calling that hunting, and then they kill something, and it's private property. I couldn't even get on there. It's big dollars to get on that farm, and I don't blame the farmer. He's probably making more money with hunters than he is cows or something. And then they do kill some, and they take the tractor out there and pick it up whole and take it back to the shed and butcher it. And then they get in their truck, their brand new Ford pickup, and go home. To me, that isn't hunting. It's all about money.
Yeah. I know. That's why I brought it.
They could no more climb up a ridge as the man in the moon.
Well, but there's also the side of that guy, maybe that's his only experience. So there is a flip side to that too.
Well,
maybe that is his experience.
Yeah. I give them credit for getting out there, and then I hope they eat the elk, but...
they'd eat it.
I don't know. It's not my style. I'm not going to hunt by a road, and I'm not going to hunt by a big field of alfalfa that they come down in every year, or every day, every night, and eat.
Yeah.
And some of them even got little plastic things they're hiding in. You know, waiting for that bull to come by there. That ain't.
Well, let me ask you this question. And then we'll end on this. But what do you think that the problem is with a guy that wants to go out and hunt and fill his freezer full of meat? I just have a hard time with this. What is the problem? What do you think people have a problem with? Hunters who want to go out and harvest, because you know how hard it is. Why would somebody have a problem with that? Wanting to, go out and harvest their own meat when, the stuff at the grocery store. Bobby over here, my neighbor who died from COVID, worked at Safeway, and I asked him, I said, what are they putting on that stuff to get it that red? And he said, you don't want to know.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about it.
But think about that though. Why would anyone frown down the greenies or whoever? Because really the bottom line is, if you're eating salad, you're killing bugs. Is it bug or
same way? It's all red looking.
Why is? Have you ever seen a guy that was in a grip and grin? Like a picture of a guy holding a deer or an elk or anything without a smile on his face?
No, he's happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made a kill, and I hope he eats it. But to me, you guys were all raised on elk meat. I mean, if I get one in Idaho and I get one in Washington, that's a lot of elk meat. Sometimes we made hamburger out of the whole thing.
Oh, that's the best thing though.
Yeah.
Elk burger, give me a break.
Some of the tough steaks.
This kid right here is raised on bears.
Yeah.
Come here, Bo.
If the meat was tough, we made cube steaks out of it.
Hello, everyone.
Noble. And sometimes we'd tell the butcher to run the cube steaks through twice.
Sit right there.
Take just a good chunk of meat.
So what's your favorite animal to hunt?
Bears.
Why is that?
Because we grew up doing it from a young age. I've been doing it since I was, I don't know, what would you say?
7 years old was the first time we killed a bear together.
Yeah. And ever since then, it's been my favorite thing to hunt.
Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Now you're going off to play quarterback.
Yep.
You excited about that?
Very excited. Yeah.
You've lost a lot of years in this hunting thing due to your football stuff, but I'm really looking forward to once you're done and we can get back to hunting and fishing, which, obviously you're an amazing duck hunter and a hunter. You're a good hunter all the way around, but the elk stuff is gonna have to happen after you get done playing quarterback.
Yeah.
You're gonna kick some ass.
Something I'm excited for, man. I know. You guys have done a lot of elk hunting. I haven't done one bit of elk hunting.
You haven't had the opportunity. Football came first.
Falls during football every year, so kind of unfortunate, but once that part of my life's over with, I'm excited to get out there.
Yep. So
It's in your blood.
it is in his blood. The next video that I come out with is going to be I'm gonna do a whole phase on bugling and giving tips on. Got a tool that's gonna help people bugle to help them. I'm concerned for the younger generation to teach people to get better to bugle, and if you want to stay tuned to that, I think that you're going to learn something from that, and if you can pick up something from that and become a better bugler, I think that I'm excited to do that. So that's going to be the next video that we come out with. So all through growing up, I always, with my dad being the guy that he was, I always looked to other hunters to look up to, and I studied everybody. There wasn't anybody I didn't study. If they were bow hunting and I thought they were good, I was gonna study that guy, and I think that's important. Find a role model for younger hunters coming up. Find somebody that you look up to, and you can definitely get better through learning. Through their wisdom and their knowledge. With saying that, one of my favorites, and this is in the Arrow Trade magazine coming out. This is the last quote. A quote for all to hear from one of my role models, and have read all his books on traditional bow hunting, is this. G. Fred Asbell. This is his quote. You must remember that what you are doing is hunting, and hunting is not automatic killing. Also, the way in which you hunt is more important than the fact you get to hunt. What you're doing is giving yourself the maximum challenge while giving the animal the maximum chance to escape. And that's what bow hunting has always meant to me. And I think it's important that you find somebody that you can look up to. I'm not saying that's me or anyone. You find your guy. And if you're a young kid out there and you don't have anyone, you would think that I would be the guy that would have a golden opportunity. But in all honesty, my dad taught me the woodsmanship side of it, and I looked to magazines and anything I could get my hands on to be a better bow hunter. And then the rest is left up to you. It really is. But you can learn a lot from other people, and that's what I did. And that's how I became the bow hunter that I am. And that's important to me. There's a lot of kids that don't have role models or people to look up to. But you gotta find one. And when you do, pick them apart. You don't have to take every single piece of it, but you can always learn something from somebody else, that's for sure. So, that's a wrap.
Hey!
Appreciate you.
Yay.